Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, and welcome to this deep woo-woo episode entitled Spiritual Fog of War with Mr. Michael Jaco. You can find his work at Michael Jaco here on YouTube and also on his website at michaelkjaco.com. Let's give him a big warm welcome back to the show. Michael, how are you, man?
Jean-Claude, doing absolutely fantastic. Always a pleasure to come back and speak with you and your team. Yeah, because I think we're all a team out here right now. So.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to have you on. Oh, hold on a second. Let me switch that around. And thank you so much, everyone, for joining us here today on this live interactive show. We'll try to take some more questions here today and have a little bit more of an interactive show with the audience here. There's so much going on, and I've got a crazy bunch of emails already in the last 2 days. What about this? What about this? What about this? I'm like, all right, okay, hold on. There's a lot to talk about. And of course, we're going to try to navigate some of the language here so that we don't get in trouble. But Michael, why don't we start here? In the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of people out there reporting from the woo-woo side. Let's talk from the woo-woo side for now, that the end of July would be extremely, how do I say it? Maybe unnerving, or I don't want to say catastrophic, but something was going to happen at the end of July. So there was a huge emotional, spike coming up at the end of the month. We had the tarot cards telling us that there was this Tower card moment coming from the readers. We had the cycles analysts of time also look at the end of July. We had the predictive linguistics also talking about the end of the July. And there was something else too. Oh, perhaps this dead man switch that would eventually be triggered somewhere at the end of July. And finally, General Flynn, who had said, okay, the next couple of weeks are going to be absolutely, quote unquote, shocking for the audience. So let's start there. What are you getting from your sources? What are you getting internally from your intuition as well? What's coming up around the corner here potentially in the next couple of days?
So I think one of the biggest things that we're going to see, so when I look at stuff, I look at it analytically first, and then I remote view it. So if I do the analytical work, so a lot of people are like, just go look at it and remote view it first. No, it doesn't really work that well that way. So I do the analytical work, and then I get some ideas of what's coming, and then I look at it as a remote viewer. And from that, I get some really good insights. Because if I don't do the pre-work, it's almost like, the universe is like, no, we're not going to give it to you that easy. So, and really it won't make sense to me either. So I have to do a little preparatory work before I go in and look at stuff. So the things that I see that are coming down the pike is definitely a military involvement. And that seems extremely obvious. That has to come to a head. It's coming very, very soon. I think that a lot of the dumb stuff is going to be revealed. The dumbs being the deep underground military bases that had been harboring, the party drug collection, and also some extraterrestrial stuff. So there was genetic engineering going on down there with humans, and I remote viewed that a while ago. I talked about that for quite some time. I've gotten away from a lot of that stuff, so I'm glad you brought it back up, because I think it's really it's going to come to a head.
Right.
So what do we do to prevent that? That's the big question. And that remains to be seen, because they're very shifty and very sneaky, the way they come in and do stuff. And stop stuff out.
Let me ask you also, just before we keep going on, can you maybe bring your camera down a little bit so that the comments of the viewers here don't cover so much of you? So just bring your camera down just a tad if we can. And thank you for that. And Star says, yeah, I just watched JC on the Catherine Edwards show. That was a fabulous interview, guys. Go check that out. You can find it at Catherine Edwards on YouTube. I'll link it a little bit later in the show here, and I'll show you guys that clip. But it was important there, too, because we're talking about how to bring the body back into balance here to deal with a lot of the energies that we're being hit with. So Michael and I are going to touch upon that subject here today as well. So going back, Michael, to these DUMs, do you think that the acknowledgement of this, or maybe the information coming out of this, will be, how do I rephrase that? I feel like we have the cart before the horse. Is this going to be the event, or is something else going to be the event, and then they're going to switch us over to this, maybe to talk about the DUMs, the ET involvement, the genetic interference, as to not talk about this, which is the big question: what happened last year in October, November, and all of that. So What's your gut telling you? I know there's military involvement in there, and they've seemed to have been hedging their bets for the last couple of months, waiting maybe to see that critical mass of awakening before they can move. How do you tie that all together? Like, what steps would you see happening before?
Well, I'm starting to see it now. So the things I was looking for were extreme fear that we were waking up, and then pushing back super hard. So we're seeing the collusion is starting to come out into the open with big government and social media giants. So we're seeing that. That's a big reveal. We're also seeing, I believe, are going to see more of it, where military leaderships I just saw, where it was like hey, there's, the military is doing a special event, and so I clicked on it, and it was the General Milley and the head of the military here in the U.S. They're giving a press briefing, and it was just random stuff that they were talking about, and how they're basically failing in Afghanistan, how they don't have a really good situation going forward with China, and on and on and on. And they talked about, the critical race thing, and it's like, are you guys kidding me? Come on. So I get tired of this, so I responded a little bit to that, and I saw a massive pushback on that. So that's what I'm looking for. So I looked at events where, trolls and so forth are just, they spring one of these events like that, like they just did, where they had the military and they alert. There were people there from Sri Lanka. They're like, I'm from Sri Lanka and I got this notice. What's going on? So, wow. It was like they're testing the waters. They're trying to see, what the world is how the world is looking at them. And there was a lot of comments in there. There was a lot of angry little, emojis that were going up, and more. I mean, just tons of them, just nonstop angry emojis. So they're getting their feedback. And then, you have people like me. Hey, 24-year veteran. This is the worst 2 that I've ever seen in my whole life. this pair. Right. And then I got pushback. Of course. And I'm like, okay. They set this up so they could see what the response was going to be. Because I'm so tired of these attacks from people. I see really good people like Candace Owens and other people will come in and try and inform people, and they get attacked crazily. I remember seeing this when Trump still had his Twitter account. It would just be like just loads of trolls in there. Yeah. And I just used to look at it, it's like just shake my head, but I'm not looking anymore. I'm starting to make statements. So someone in that comment, while I'm a 24-year veteran, I said, and 35 years, combined the military and CIA. And I feel these two, probably should be held up on some charges. So, and that didn't go over well. So then the trolls really ganged up on me. And I was like, all right, so the trolls are out today. How many trolls does it take to make a coherent statement? I think it's probably about 3 dozen of you to make that one statement you guys made. And that equals about one of my, brain neurons. So, they're out of control right now. So I'm just pushing back whenever I get a chance now. And I think that's what we need to do going forward. We need to. So they're like, oh, were you at the January 6th event? Do I need to alert the FBI? And I'm like, 35 years of protecting First Amendment rights. This is my opinion. Who are you to claim that you can take that away? So, and then someone else came in and says, oh, are you a racist? Because I actually have, I think it's like 12% of my DNA is Northern African. So, are you a racist, coming after me like that? So, there's
they got nothing when they start pulling the race cards. I
can play that card right back on them hard. So, and that's what we need to look at going forward, I believe. So we're seeing these attacks that are coming, and it's a desperation move, because there's no longer freedom of speech. It's going into the realms of like World War II era in Germany. So we have to be very cognizant of that, and we have to push back, because people like you and I, we're under the gun right now. as you and I can attribute, testify to, we are getting constantly banned and shadow banned and you name it banned,
right?
Because we're trying to help wake people up, and they don't want that. They want to control the consciousness. They want to control the narrative.
Well, seeing as you bring that up, let me just take this opportunity to give an update to the audience who are still looking for me on Patreon. There's been an issue there in the last week and a half, 2 weeks now, where they basically sent out this warning that Janine and I, they were reporting to some of our episodes, and their contention was that that was enticing violence or inciting violence. And I responded back to them, and they dropped that accusation and came back with, no, you're promoting Q. And I'm like, well, I've never done once a Q drop or even analyze it. Like, what are you guys talking about? And then they came back with, well, you talk about the election, the unfounded allegations, stuff. And this is all Q conspiracy, sir. So therefore, you're going against our policies. And so I'm like, wow, okay, that's a very broad brush. So you mentioned earlier the collusion between the government and, of course, these social media giants. Here, this was an admission from the White House that they had in fact communicated with Facebook and Twitter to have them remove posts on their behalf. And I was saying here, yeah, I think they probably also talked to Patreon because it seemed very direct to me, at least. And, so anyways,
Patreon, your way of making money. They want to take.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. And I said, okay, what if I delete some of these posts? Because we were in negotiation. I was under review, basically, is what they were saying. They were giving me an opportunity to self-correct. And I was looking at that. I was like, okay, maybe there's a way to salvage this situation. And essentially, I said, well, if I delete these posts, and they're like, no. You can't just delete the posts on YouTube. First of all, the content's not on Patreon. I had my content on a private server that I pay for so that I wouldn't have these issues. But on my Patreon, I would give people the codes or the access keys to go watch the content someplace else. Wow. And that is also against their rules. They're saying, no, you're using Patreon here to generate funds to promote that stuff over there. That's against our policy. So not only do you need to delete the post here, you need to go on your private server, sir, and delete your content. So I'm like, okay, I think we're at an impasse at this point here. So just to show you how absolutely crazy that is. And so for the audience watching, I appreciate you guys bearing with me as I try to fix that. I have 2 fixes in the wings right now that I'm working on simultaneously, but both of them require somebody else to do something at another end for me to install it. So I don't have a timeline on that. I'm getting closer and closer, and just bear with me, guys. I will eventually get this all sorted out for you guys. But it just shows like the time and effort now that I've spent in the last week or two doing that, as opposed to doing these videos and 2-3 videos a day. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to, get you out of the game. So anyways, thank you everyone for bearing with me as I work through that. It shouldn't be too much longer here. And also people were asking yesterday, hey, will we be charged again the 1st of August, even though your account is suspended? The answer to that is no. Their policy says that when an account is in suspension or review, they will not charge your subscribers up until such time as that it is corrected. So we still have some time here up until the end of the month to try to figure out whether we can salvage over there or port everybody over to 1 or 2 other solutions. So thank you, Mike, for bearing with me on that one. Okay, so let's get back to the story of July 23rd here. I'll bring up a few slides. The first one, okay, so let me bring this one. So this was, again, coming from the predictive linguistic side of things. Cliff was saying here to be advised that between the 23rd and the 27th, we had a big emotional spike building within a large emotional release period. Not a good sign. So something is coming there. Penny Kelly, in my last interview also, was seeing behind that white wall. Yeah. So if you guys know who Penny Kelly is, she does these remote viewings. She calls them look-sees every month. And she's been on the show over the last year. And every time she would get into this period, she would be faced by a white wall, couldn't see across that white wall. Right. She just in the last week saw across the white wall. And again, it has something to do with these dates here. Something there is on the horizon. Now, this also, I tweeted this about Whacked, the coin here from McAfee. Let me see if I can bring up the tweet, but at any rate, apparently this was about to be triggered either today or tomorrow. So we're in that time frame here too, and we're talking about the 31 terabytes of information. Right. What that relates to, does it have to do with servers for election? Does it have to do with child trafficking? All of the above? I mean, could you imagine this being triggered on the blockchain, where it's very difficult to take off unless you shut down the power. And of course, now we're hearing all of these cyber attack drills. So it seems that something is happening. The banking system also, we've seen in the last 2 weeks, a lot of banks go under. They had some issues with malware. They were down for a day or two. The wire transfer payments weren't working. So again, there seems to be smoke. Where the fire is, we don't know yet, but something is up. And also in these cycles of time, we were looking at July 23rd. Also, this was the work from Bo Polney, as he's tracking a lot of these different cycles that are all colluding here very shortly, starting on the 23rd of July. So having said all that, Mike, what's your gut feeling? Are we facing some type of generated event again to switch our focus to something else? Or are we actually going to see the main event of something crashing? In your view, is it 50-50 right now? Are we pushing more towards a fake event, or are we pushing towards a real crack up of something? You name it. We've just named a few, and there's quite a few more there. What are your thoughts?
It's a combination of both. When I look at it in a remote view, it's foggy. It's just like we talk about. It's hard to see exactly what's there. Probably because the two competing sides trying to push humanity in different directions are really coming to a head, and they're both at their either at their most winningest or at their most failingest. And I think the bad side is that they're failingest, and they don't realize that, because they've always won, and they fight all the way to the end. They don't surrender ever. So this is something that we'll see it, when they're really, on their heels or knocked down completely. And that's right. One of the events that's rarely been seen. Now there's a lot of misdirection that's going on. There's, that one thing that, where that happens, then it goes in that. So that there's a lot of misdirection on that. It didn't originate in that one country that everybody thinks it did. It originated in your country and my country long before, and then it was basically lots of bets were placed monetarily. So that money getting whacked is one of those things. So that gets disclosed very soon. It's being disclosed now, and they're desperate to stop that disclosure. So that's what we're seeing, one of those major events, and they're using a lot of subterfuge to confuse people or misdirect people. But most people are getting it. So
just while you're talking here, keep going. But this is a feed of Mr. F here, very nervous, testifying here the other day, and his body language was speaking volumes. Absolutely.
They never thought that they would be revealed in this level. They never thought it would happen. So that's one of the things that we're seeing. And there's a lot of people that have done a lot of great work over many decades to get us to this point. It's been I've seen it on the backside, from an analytical perspective and from a remote viewing and intuitive perspective. So that's the beauty of this mystical fog of woo that we talk about. It's clearing. So there's a period that we're seeing right now that we're talking about, to the 27th and maybe into the next month, where there's going to be a lot of confusion, and then it lifts.
Right.
So that's what we're seeing. We're going to go into a deeper state of confusion and disinformation, more than we've ever seen before. Attacks on a lot of individuals, like we're seeing, and then we'll see on the other side of this very soon a resolution.
I like what you're saying, because
it'll take time. It'll take years to resolve all these factors, but we'll see enough resolution. I think it'll be clear. That doesn't mean, it's clear. We can see the bombers coming for us. Now we can see the tanks coming for us, that type thing. It's not like, oh, we have clarity. Now we're going to have peace. No, we have clarity. Now we see just how much is arrayed against us and how hard the fight's going to be, unfortunately.
Right. And you know that saying, I'm trying to remember how it goes. It has something to do with, hey, if you walk outside and you see a black cloud, you'll say, hey, I'll bring an umbrella to defend myself. It might rain later, right? But right now, because of all of this fog, you don't see that black cloud, or you don't see what's coming at you. So you're not prepared to fight the fight. So I think what Michael's saying there too is we're getting to see the black clouds now more and more. And this is why there's all of this censorship here too, trying to prevent us from seeing what's really going on and who is really guilty for all of this.
Jean-Claude, that is so well said. I just got chills when you said that. It's like that's perfect, because you need to have a deeper understanding of this information to put it in a simplistic way that people can get it right away. Right. So you did that, and it's as we go forward, it's not going to be easy, but we have the creative side that is far stronger with us than it is with them. They're very controlling, very manipulative, and in a very, situation where everything changes on a dime. They can't handle that because they plan long-term out so they can get all their pieces together. Everyone's on the same sheet of music, and then they go, and then we go, and then it's like for us, we get ambushed. The ambushing is coming to an end. We're starting to see their little ambushes being set up now. Right. And we're stopping them out. We're not even going into them now, which is huge. We're not getting ambushed. We're surviving. More and more people are surviving. One of those ambushes means that half the population is not doing something they're trying to force everybody into. Right. So that's very, very important as we go forward, as we continue to push on that.
What you're saying there too. I remember, let's say 2001, without saying the dates. It took a couple of years for people to realize, wait a second, that doesn't make sense, and that doesn't make sense, and so there was a lag time between the event and people realizing, what was that? And then by 2009, 10, there's other events around that area and forward. It would take hours, minutes on YouTube for people to say, hey, look at that video. That's not the same card. They said, hold on a second, there's something wrong, right? And now what you're saying is we're seeing it before the setup. And we're changing that setup. We know it's coming up. We're seeing their little ads, on Craigslist for crisis actors and all that, and we're putting that out. So it's kind of like it's funny to see. And at what point do they realize, oh my God, our bag of tricks don't work anymore? And this is the period we're in now. Their bag of tricks don't work anymore. And it's the last hurrah, or how did Janine call it in the last episode? The last Hail Mary. And this potentially is what's happening between the 23rd and the 27th. This one big thing where they're trying again to switch global consciousness from one area of attention to another. So again, let me bring this up. Let me bring this one up here again. So this dead man switch thing. Yeah. Again, next couple of days, maybe, we don't know. Now, you've interviewed 107 quite a few times. Have you ever asked him the question about the 31 terabytes of data and how that factors in, or anything else that in your conversations with him might kind of give us some insights as to what's happening here and forcing the hand of the power structure that be right now?
That's a brilliant question, which I will bring up with him tomorrow at the same time frame. So he, like I, have said that there will be military involvement, and he's saying that everything has basically been done, everything has been said, all the actors, all the chess pieces are in their positions now, and now it's go time. Now, General Flint also said that, and said, and I did a show, and then somebody posted to me within hours of when I did my show saying that he said it was time for the military to get involved. So it's definitely coming to that head that we're talking about, and it's not going to be pretty. Everyone thinks that the judicial system can get involved now because everything's being disclosed. We know that everything has been compromised.
Right.
Here in the U.S., the legislative, the executive, and judicial systems are all compromised, completely compromised. And so we can't get any resolution there. The only thing we have left, and this is part of something that was implemented in case all the way back during the Soviet Union, if they somehow infiltrated and took over our government, the military would basically would lock everything down, discovery period, which we've seen, and then have some type of response. And we're at that point now.
We're there now, right? Because a lot of evidence suggests, at the very least, that the military has not given the keys to the pretendency in Washington, D.C., at least not all of the keys. Let's put it that way. We could talk about the football and other things. So what you're saying now is like we have this in limbo situation where we have a pretendency, but we also have a military that is hesitant to give fully the power back to DC. At the same time, they're waiting for what specifically? So I understand that they probably knew about this fraud way back when. So they don't need a court of law to do this. They were tracking this probably even during the first election go around. So that's not what's missing. What's missing is probably the hearts and minds of Americans, because at what point does the American psyche crack when they see suddenly the military in the White House, as opposed to our duly elected democratic, we're the best democracy in the world type of, indoctrination that we've all had. And now suddenly we're saying, oh my God, we just had a coup d'etat. How do we educate the people? And I think that's what the military is struggling with. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. And to give you more insight on that, there's a lot of people that are really pushing back. So I know a lot of people in the intel agencies that have told me that those agencies are crumbling. All of the things that they were involved in are starting to be turned around. Now, one thing that I did see today, which I've been kind of waiting for, was the good guys really step out and exert themselves. And I just saw where the person that was involved in finding bin Laden and helping that come to a resolution is now heading up a program to look at what is going on with all of the people in state departments or embassies, and the State Department. They call them the State Department, of course. That agency uses the State Department as a cover. So there's State Department personnel in a lot of embassies around the world that are being affected by some type of device. So this person, who I work with.
Wait, are you talking about the Cuba syndrome in the embassy?
Exactly, the Cuba syndrome. Exactly. Okay, good. Wow, you're so intuitive. I can't believe it. How incredible you tap into this stuff.
I do read a lot of news.
I want other people to do the. What is he talking about? So you kind of gave it away, but that's okay.
Okay.
That's okay. And it's like, ooh, I know the answer.
I'm the kid in the back room, and the teacher's like, "Oh, Jean-Claude, not again."
We want everybody to work on that one. Okay, that's right. Okay. So anyway, that person, and am I going to say male or female, because they would give it away too. So anyway, that person is heading that up, and so that I could tell her now that as the deep state working on you guys that are good, that are disclosing stuff, so they want to shut you guys down. So that is what's going on. It's not that they're attacking personnel randomly, because why would the CIA appoint someone to go find that out? Right? So that's what's going on, and so that's a turning point. So that means the good guys are taking over the CIA, which I've been told is happening. So that was an indicator. So a lot of people are like, I don't get it, but trust me, in this fog of war, that's a key turning point. So that's an indicator that the people, the deep state that used to be in charge of those organizations have really they're no longer in charge. So you got somebody like that pushing out. Now you might say, well, what happened during when we took down bin Laden? Right. Well, that was a trade out, because you saw the SEAL Team 6 guys get taken down in a helo later. Yeah. And I believe one of those guys survived. He didn't go on that mission, I think. So so that kind of reveals a little something there, because so he knew there was some fishy stuff going on, because he saw it in the background.
What's that quote from A Few Good Men? Jack Nicholson says, "You fuck with the wrong Marine, boy." If you're messing with SEAL Team 6 to hide something, eventually that's going to bite you in the ass. So we might be there, very close to that point.
Oh, we got Cliff High in there. Hey, Cliff. Cool.
Yeah, I think he's referring to what we were talking about. What's the tipping point for the military to maybe take action, or at least to be able to educate the people of what the real reality of the situation is? And what he's saying is here, 71% of the population knowing, understanding, being in the woo as opposed to being in the box that has been designed by the mainstream media narrative. So how close are we to that 71% is the question. Cliff, if you're still there, let us know. But what are your thoughts on that, Michael? Are we having, well, okay. We're having an effect. This is why we're being targeted. We're definitely having an effect. But how close are we to that point?
Yeah, if they were waiting, like Juan O'Savin says, they're waiting for an 80%. And I know Cliff doesn't think highly of Juan O'Savin, but I can tell you that he's got info that's way beyond what I have. So regardless of who he is or what he stands for, his information is exceptional, and his knowledge is exceptional. But just like me, I make mistakes. I don't know if, everything that I've seen that he's revealed so far has come to pass, whether he's a disinformationalist or whether he's really revealing. To me, it doesn't remain to be seen. It is very given to me that he's been behind the scenes doing some good stuff. And he knows stuff, and he's been cast to be a point man to help right things.
Mm. Well, I could say this about—
he says 80%. Cliff is saying 71%. I think that we're probably at or close to either one of those numbers. And like I said, there's a rate of, okay, I have no problem with Juan. I like his voice and his cadence of speech. Oh, excellent, Cliff. Good to hear.
And just to add to that,
tell him that he'll be very happy, actually.
And just to add to that too, Cliff and I were talking about this maybe 2 months ago, this very subject about Juan O'Savin, and we were looking at this and we're like, okay, there's a lot of these intel guys who are supposedly intel guys on YouTube and everywhere else, and then there's Juan O'Savin. He's cut from a different cloth. The way he speaks, the way he explains things, the depth of knowledge and the ease with which he brings that forward is very different from all of those guys. Now, does that mean that he's right 100% of the times? I don't know. Does that mean that he's impervious to maybe spelling out some disinformation in order to win the war to destabilize the enemy? I don't know. Again, buyer beware. You guys have to use your own discernment. But it is definitely a different level of game when you start listening to what he's saying. Absolutely.
Right. And your I think your cadence, your voice is really good too.
Thanks, Michael. I appreciate that.
I'm gonna use that one, Cliff. That's good. So so that's something I look for as well. And I don't necessarily look for it, but I sense it on a certain level. And then I look, it's like I can look at someone's eyes and I know right away. Like, for instance, I've talked about how John McCain, I thought he was like, oh, John McCain, he's great, former veteran and stuff, but people had told me stuff. And I was like, I know that can't be right. So when I looked into his eyes, I was like, oh yeah, he's bad. and then he went out and made some deals with the bad guys, Baghdadi and everything. So we know now.
Are you of the opinion? Let me ask you this: are you of the opinion? Remember that guy on CNN who kind of tripped, whether it was a Freudian slip or not? He said, "Oh, McCain was put to death." He died of cancer. Are you of the opinion that he did go through some type of trial and then given the easy way out? We're talking about McCain here.
Yeah, I think he was resistant all the way to the end, and they were like, "Okay, you're going to back of the head," And then to telegraph that to the world, your coffin, when we put the flag on, it's all wrinkled, because we would have a perfect flag over honorable person died. And we saw the same thing with Bush Daddy that had a wrinkled flag as well. Yeah. So I think he underwent the same process, but he was evil beyond belief. McCain was just a puppet of their and a willing puppet. Well, and then he was resistant and didn't want to give up any information. So it's like, bye-bye,
Let's talk about this guy here. Let me see if I can bring him back up for some reason. Mr. Donald Rumsfeld. So he just left very recently. And a lot of people were talking about the connection between him, the Bush cabal, we just mentioned McCain. There's one character missing in all of this, and it's Mr. Cheney. What are your intel sources telling you here? Is he also maybe now in the same process as these previous comrades?
So I don't know specifically certain personnel, but I've been given word that there are many that have been taken to be questioned, and some of them are re-released after questioning with basically ankle monitors, or some are released with okay, we're going to let you go, but you got to talk this way. You got to talk when we contact you. Yeah. So 88. Yeah. So he died at 88. So basically, you know, deep state likes to play God with numbers.
Right.
So, you know, he's probably gone for a while, is my thoughts. And they decide when they're going to, what day and time and all that kind of stuff, when they're going to release that information, they being the, you know, people that are Luciferian.
And what's this gentleman doing right now? What role is he playing, if any, or is he somebody in a cell somewhere also just waiting for his fate? If not, maybe he has already received it. We've just not been announced it yet. What are your thoughts? Yeah.
When I remote view, I don't see him anymore. So either he talked and gave up information, and it reached an expiration date. His use was no longer there. They let him live and enjoy his last few days. Or he resisted all the way to the end. I don't know what the situation is on him, but I don't feel him anymore. You see his daughter is extremely angry now. She probably knows that he's not around anymore, and they basically took him out. So she's all in to, you know, push back and do whatever she can. I think she's going to get voted down very soon here. She's been censored in her state, and I think a lot of people are like that. So just like we were talking about, they're not going to know that that they have lost until they're facing, I don't know, the bullet or the rope or whatever comes to them, you know.
Right.
And they resist. Some of them resist all the way to the end. Some of them are like, oh, I'll get to live a little bit longer. And yeah, so yeah, what do you got? And it's that way in any war situation.
Yeah.
You reward people that are willing to give up information that might be valuable. Once they have proven themselves to be, some of them have done some stuff that's so horrible. They're not going to continue for much longer, but they'll get a little bit of reprieve. I think that as we go forward, you know, that's one of the things that we're saying gets revealed. It gets revealed. And that's going to be a massive wake-up call for a lot of people. It's coming. It's a done deal. I already know that it's happening. My thoughts are just like, when does it get revealed, and at what level does it get revealed?
What's this guy's role right now? If he's not here on the planet, is he still somehow connected to Earth Corp? Call it one of the factions of the secret space program. What can you tell the audience here? I know we'll probably talk about that in episode 4 of Disclosure and the SSP with Janine here in the next couple of days. But can you give a little bit of a insight as to maybe previously what he was up to and how this person was instrumental in setting up not just the breakaway civilization, but part of the secret space program that is really, really usurping a lot of the resources here on the planet to bring off-world. Let's dive into that very lightly here, not to get too much in trouble.
So this will be like the first time that I've looked at him as being involved in that. I'm not completely. I can't talk in depth, but when you brought it up, I feel that it's true that he's a money man. Gathering resources to have that program continue. So he was completely in on that game. I think there's a lot of people that are involved at that level. We see Bill Barr was involved as far as making sure money moves around correctly for the Bushes.
Wow.
That was disclosed to me. There's lots of stuff that I see bigger picture. And I just watch these chess pieces are still out on the board occasionally.
Right.
I'm like, okay, So we know this person is corrupted, and a lot of us are seeing that now.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing, how many people are corrupted now more than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
And that was part of the pullback. It was like, okay, we're not going to take this down right now on January 20th. We're just going to pull back so that more people discover, like we were just talking about. Is it 71% of people are aware now? Is it 80%, like Juan talks about? 71%. It would be lovely to, maybe the three of us do a show together. So, love Cliff, love you, Jean-Claude. So the three of us, I think, would really kick it.
I'm in anytime. I have a zillion questions for him already, so I could do 10 interviews already.
Right? Yeah, so that'd be a lot of fun. So
that'd be cool.
I mean, I have never gotten enough of Cliff. I mean, I can watch the guy for hours, and I do. So
yeah, he's cool. He's really cool, and he's funny.
He's amazing. Reveal, yeah.
You don't realize how funny that guy is. Actually, he was dealing with cancer the last couple of years, so you could tell his frequency was different. But now that he's back up and in fighting shape, and he's hilarious. I just love him. He sends me the weirdest emails usually 2 minutes before I go to show to mess with my brain. Anyways, I love you, Cliff. You're amazing. So, folks, if you're interested in this content here, we're talking about disclosure and the secret space program here. We just mentioned, and maybe partly some of the role here of Dick Cheney and company. If you haven't seen these series yet, I invite you to go check them out. It's called Lady Janine, of course, our friend Janine here, Disclosure and the Secret Space Program with Michael Jaco. We have 3 episodes already on the board. The 3rd episode might be a little bit more R-rated. We did talk about sex and space. So if you're watching that with your kids, maybe be forewarned that episode 3 is a little bit... viewer discretion advised on that one. And so Michael, Janine, and I will be recording episode 4 here in the next couple of days. We had a delay this Monday. Janine was traveling to visit her family in Vancouver, so we had to kind of move things around. But we shouldn't be that much longer. So if you haven't started, maybe start with these 3 episodes, and in the next couple of days, you'll see episode 4 here pop up. And on that note, too, talking about ETs and human trafficking, if you haven't seen this episode, guys, go check it out. Again, with Penny Kelly. She was doing these look-sees. We talked about what's behind the white wall. We talked about all of the connections here between this ET interference with our genetics, how this is still ongoing today, and how humanity's evolution has been detract, and now how we have the opportunity to maybe bring that back towards our original throughput of where we're supposed to go as a race to evolve together. So we're close to that moment now. There's a lot of things happening here, so go check that one out. That was called ETs and Human Trafficking with Penny Kelly. And if you're looking at the poster board, this is the poster you're looking at. There's just one episode right now with Penny Kelly, but we're supposed to do a second one here later in the week. She just went through surgery the other day, and we did a remote healing session with the audience here. So thank you everyone for sending Penny some healing energy. She absolutely adored it, and she is feeling better. I spoke to her yesterday, so the pain now is subsiding, and we're almost back on track with the schedule. All right, Michael, we're 43 minutes in. I wanted to talk to you about this, so let me bring that back up. This was the interview with Catherine Edwards. Let me bring the link down to the chat. She's absolutely amazing, guys. If you don't know her work, go check it out. The link is now in the live chat, and I'll also put it in the description box below after the show here. So if you're watching this on replay, you can click on that. But one of the topics during the show, Michael, I'm happy I have you on here because you are a person who knows quite a bit about mastering the body. So as we're looking at these energies that are hitting us from space right now, everything that's happening on the planet, the huge stress that is being placed upon our bodies, now more than ever, people need to look at solutions and increasing the amount of time, attention, and intention they're putting towards repairing this body and making it a better vehicle for your soul so that you can traverse through these obstacles that are before us. That's my premise. So let's start there, Michael. What are you doing recently here to tune up the vessel for your soul here? And what can you tell the audience in terms of some easy, practical tips to get started at the very least here on this track?
Yeah, so the first thing would be having a really good, clean diet. And from that point on, you can start to do, more exercising. For me, I just started increasing my exercise. I used to do like 2 hours a day. Now I'm up to 3 hours a day because I really feel a lot of tension coming in right now. That's my stress relief. So you see this physique right there. You know, I'm a person that's gets stressed out. So when I get stressed out, I go hit the gym. But not only do I relieve my stress, but I also am creative in the gym. So I think about, shows to do. I think about, different types of, courses to build, and all that comes, while I'm working out. A lot of it does. Other times, when I'm relaxing, maybe I hit the pool back here and float around, and, stuff comes to me then. So being laying in the sun, but, there's different ways that all of us have. So eating a really as clean a diet as you can, as organic as you can. People can't afford it, unfortunately. Just try and not eat the foods that like potato chips. Sit around eating potato chips. Just eat, maybe a piece of fruit. And a lot of people are like, it's cheaper for me to go eat McDonald's than it is to actually cook a home meal. And it's like, that's terrible. It's too bad. But try and get to the point where, you're cooking, good food. And for me, I don't only do meat one time a day. And I feel that eventually I'm going to get to the point where I'll have a meatless diet. So even the foods that I used to take and still do a lot of whey protein. Now I'm taking plant-based proteins. So I do protein shakes pretty much all day. Maybe I'll splurge and eat a chicken breast or a can of tuna or something during the day if I feel really hungry, if it's really stressing me. But I keep it to the point where I'm just doing intermittent fasting. So I fast basically for 16 hours, and then for the next 8 is when I do meals. Now, sometimes what I'm trying to do is like squeeze that even more to the point where I'm just doing 6 hours a day. And that's, I think, as a warrior in this woo land, we're basically trying to get to the point where, maybe we don't need food at all. And I think we'll get to that point.
Yeah, the sun diet. And of course, Cliff is on the screen here. Stun him if you got him. You guys know what he's talking about. Of course, transmuting that into vitamin D, which is absolutely critical at this point. There's quite a few people in the chat here asking, hey, where can we find Cliff? Of course, he can't upload to YouTube anymore. You can find him here. Anyways, I don't want to put the links down, or we're going to probably get in trouble for just doing that. But anyways, you want to see this this last episode called Tippy Woo. In there, he talks about this period of time between the 23rd and the 28th in a lot of detail here. This is 1 hour show. So guys, go check that out.
Yeah.
Okay. So going back to the health thing.
Thanks for coming in and chatting with us. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Going back on, so you just mentioned quite a few things there. What would you say to the people who, okay, you just mentioned, like, I'm up to 3 hours too. So I just said that in the Catherine show yesterday. It's the same thing. And I got this message 2 months ago. And so I said, oh, shoot. Okay, something's up. And my daughters noticed too, like, hey, Jean-Claude, Daddy, what's going on? I said, I'm being guided. We need to do more here. We're about to be hit with even more of a load, or a stress load, or whatever it is, and the body needs to be up. And so in my triune, I think you and I talked about this a lot of time, I was lagging on the physical side in the last 2 years because of a knee injury. So now I've kind of passed through that, and thanks to Cliff High, who had put me on the peptides. So I was on that regimen for a while to repair some of my knee damage. And now I'm back into putting stress on it and increasing a lot more my exercise routine. Of course, the food, I think that's very important. Going about the no food, the sun. There are a lot of people out there who believe that eventually we can go back to, and I say go back to, just taking energy from the sun. So we dropped into this frequency here through this gate, whatever you want to call it. This is not our normal state. So eventually we go back to this utter reality where food and this death cult that we're in now, eating dead material, is really not who we are. So anyways, that's a whole other 2 hour show, Mike, but thank you for bringing that up. And for people who are like,
yeah, I've actually done sun gazing. I heard that if you reach an hour that you would you wouldn't eat food again. It didn't work for me, but it was fun going through the process. You do a little bit at a time, and you need to do it like in the early morning hours and the late morning hours, so you don't like ruin your eyes. But it's one of the best sun gazing events that I had was along the Nile at the Isis temple, and it was very early morning. The sun was coming up. We went out onto a little beach right there where the boats would come up, and we stood in the sand, which is really important. They have bare feet when you do the sun gazing as well, grounded to the soil, grounded to the earth, not in grass, not on carpet, but ideally on like a sandy beach or something like that, or just bare ground. And so that energy, I could feel the energy there like never before. It was absolutely a mind-blowing experience. It was beautiful.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these energetic sites around the planet, there's so much there. And again, we were having this conversation with Catherine yesterday about all these adventures and the treasure hunting I do. For a lot of reasons, I do these activities because I want to go to these sites and experience the energies and interact with the energies. Has nothing to do with the local, attraction or the food or whatever. It's about the energies and the frequencies there. So yeah. That's fascinating. And eventually, I was thinking about this here too, and I said this a couple of days ago. I want to create a new YouTube channel that has nothing to do with this stuff, so I won't be too much into the radar or the crosshairs of our enemy here. But I want to talk about fitness, eating better, the meditation, really concentrating on the body. A lot of the courses that you give too, like the warrior stuff and the Jedi stuff, man, there's so much more. And just again, in the last 2-3 months here, I'm pushing the needle on everything I thought were my maximums. I've already blown through them like a month ago. And I'm like, fuck, where am I going to be next month? Right. I'm realizing that I can change my mindset. Because if your body, you thought this was your maximum, whatever X number that is for you on the bench press, whatever it is, guys, you're watching the show, suddenly when you increase that by 10%, 20%, 30%, you realize, wait a second, that limit I thought I had was a suggestion. It wasn't actually a limit. It was a self-imposed limit or a belief structure, right? So as you're putting more and more attention on the nutrition, your sleep, your recovery, your supplementation, a big thing in there, and your focus on how you're doing your exercise, not just calling it in, okay, I did my workout. No. You're focused on every movement, that mind-muscle connection, all that. Oh my God, things are just absolutely amazing. Anyways, I'm excited about this because
that's been my focus too. The exact same things you're talking about has come to me to do the same thing. So there's obviously some type of inspiration that's coming in, that's guiding us in a correct manner.
Yeah,
so it's not a random event if two guys are completely separated, by distance and, lots of different things are coming up with the same information. Maybe a lot of the people that are watching us or will watch us are having the same experiences. That's basically, a confirmation for you. If you're out there and you're like, I'm doing the same thing, it's happened to me. That's a confirmation for you. So we're showing you, we're telling you, the things that are happening that are making a difference going forward. So focus your consciousness and allow this stuff to come in. It's a very beautiful time. Although there's crazy stuff going on around us, doesn't mean that you can't go to another level. Mm-hmm. In fact, that could embolden you to move to another level so that you can rise above all the silliness that's going on.
Right. Listen to your intuition. But more than that, what you're saying too, I agree with you. We're in this weird period of time where, because of the restrictions, humans are very resilient, and we're finding a way to go through maybe those gates or those barriers, whether they're imposed on TV or whatever. We don't want to get into that conversation. But once your brain learns that you can jump a gate, that process is the same for everything. Old programming, old belief structures, and all of that. So just like you put cement down, eventually it'll crack and you'll have that one blade of grass go right through. Humans are in the same way. So the more you press us down, the more we're forced to look at alternatives. And now, apparently, what I'm getting also in this intuition map is that the universe is supporting us in that. So it's sending us that energy. So again, when I was talking about make sure your body is ready to receive that energy. It's not just to hold the charge, but it's to be able to transmute that, to heal your body, to increase, to turn on the breakers of your abilities, and to extend your chi, your energy, your psychic focus, and all of this stuff. And I think the more they're trying to suppress us, the more we're realizing that it doesn't work, and we have all of these opportunities in front of us. So I'm excited about this. I hope the audience is as well. And if you're hearing this message and you're like, next month, maybe you should try, because the universe right now is really supporting that. I truly feel that in me. And it's like behind me as I'm training and pushing harder. I'm hearing that voice and I'm like, keep going. We got your back. Keep going. We got your back. So I'm like, all right, I'm in there. Okay, Michael, we're almost at the hour mark here. Let's get back to your website here. Where do people get started if they're interested in a lot of your material, whether that's, being in focus, unleashing that intuition, maybe taking charge of their body? What are the couple of courses here that you can point the audience to that would be pertinent to them and to this conversation here today?
So a lot of these courses are super popular right now. The one, if you scroll all the way to the top, a little bit further up, there to the left is the Unleashing Intuition Secrets, Become the Master of Your Reality. It's over 20 hours worth of information. It's, becoming a master training specialist, I learned the science behind all the stuff that I was doing right. So then it took me to another level, kind of like what we're talking about now. You get information, comes through, and then you go to the next level. So instead of taking years and years and years to, train Navy SEALs and stuff like that, in hand-to-hand warfare and stuff like that, I got it to the point where within a month, they'd be at a master level beyond what most hand-to-hand courses where you would go for years and years and years, and you'd be beyond that. Because I had people that were multi-degrees in different martial arts, and they after doing a month-long course, they were like, this is the most amazing thing that I've ever done. So, I had to, and it was the same for me, because I learned how to basically instruct the mind very quickly to take in information, and that's what I do with all my courses. So that's one of the best ones. Another one that's really popular is remote viewing, and then there's one down there now that we're talking about nutrition and stuff like that. 20 pounds and 21 days. That's a very, very popular one as well.
This one here, Unleashing Intuition Secrets, Super Fast Lean 21-Day Challenge. Okay, that's great. 21 days for a lot of people. Okay, it's hard, but I can do that. It's not, they're not committing to 2 months or 6 months or this weird regime. 3 weeks, guys. You can handle 3 weeks. Give your gift a body.
You'll learn a lot in the process. If you're, you've tried all kinds of different, nutritions and, different programs, stuff like that. You keep falling back. This is something that'll give you, it's what I've been doing. It's the best thing that I've done throughout my whole life. And it's really, taking me to another level, keeping me at a very high level of fitness and, well-being.
Well, there you go, folks. Go check that out. Empower yourself. These are some of the most amazing courses all put together on one site. There's a lot here. There is a lot here, folks, for you to check out. And last but not least, here on Michael Jaco here on YouTube, what's coming up? You mentioned Juan's coming tomorrow. What can you tell the audience here in terms of your upcoming schedule? Yeah,
I got 107. I have also in Gaia, I have 4 programs that are going to get released starting August 3rd. And then every week after that for the full month of August. So if you're not a Gaia subscriber, it might be one thing you might want to try it. They get the 30-day free trial. Try it out. Do
you have a link right now, like a sponsored link that you can share for people to go watch your episodes on Gaia? Sometimes they give you a sponsored link. Do you have it now?
Yeah, I don't have it now. I don't know why. I asked them for that and they haven't given it to me. So I'm just promoting it. And I don't know, maybe when it releases, they'll see how it does. So,
okay. Well, if you do get it, just let me know.
They were like, oh, we're going to do we want you to come back. We're going to do 21 more shows. I'm like, all right. And then it's kind of well, where's my link? And they haven't given me my link. I'm like, okay, you're going to wait and see how it does. I got you.
Maybe. All right. Well, if you do get the link, let me know and I'll put it in the description box.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For it. Okay.
I'll hit them up again. If not, then, just, Gaia.com. And there's a subscription thing there. Maybe, like I said, start at, August 1st or something. And then you get 30. I think they still have a 30-day free trial. And if you like it, keep it. But they have a lot of good stuff in there. I mean, I've been a subscriber for probably 6 years. It's good stuff.
Me too. Me too. Probably that 2015, 16 is when I started there too. And there's a lot of stuff there. Absolutely. All right. Cool. And so, folks, that was Spiritual Fog of Woo. I think this is our 4th or 5th episode. I love it. I absolutely love these conversations. And last week or 2 weeks ago, we had these conversations about, what we were talking about? The rear naked choke. Anyways, we'll get into more of that in some other episode, folks. And so Michael and I will be back every 2 weeks for now. So in 2 weeks from now, on Wednesday at 3 p.m., we'll be back for another episode for you guys. So please do remember to like, share, and subscribe here on my backup channel. We're rebuilding this community as well as Jean-Claude at BeyondMystic 3, if you're watching this on Michael Jaco's show. And tonight we have Janine coming back up for our weekly show here. Absolutely going to be phenomenal. And also, as you see that way, Sherry Divban coming back for our third episode. Absolutely amazing stuff with her. We're having a lot of fun and a lot of synergies there. So guys, if you like this content, please do remember to like, share, and subscribe. So there you go, folks. Spiritual fog of woo. Crazy days are upon us. Take time to listen to your body, retune your body, make sure you're ready for all of this energy, and stay in community and be compassionate for your fellow brother and sister out there. We're all in this together. So last words of advice to you before we go, Mike?
Yeah, same thing. Stay in that love vibration, and you're gonna come out of this beautifully if you stay in that vibration, because that'll inform you and keep you in the right path.
Well, there you go, folks. Truer words were never spoken. All right. I'm Jean-Claude BeyondMystic, folks. Have a great day, and au revoir.
Au revoir.